And I finished with my final note. Stupid, stupid, stupid. I hate this show with every fiber of my being. That's what I wrote.
Well, that leads us then into the final battle with the orcs, Michael.
Should we do this as part 3?
This is now part 3. This is our final section, as we discover that Anatar or Halbrand, Anatar, Sauron. I just keep wanting to use Halbrand the entire time.
I want to use Halbro because he's always Halbro to me.
So we found out, yeah, that's right, Halbro. That's still the best name for him. We find out that Celebrimbor has been now shackled to finish the 9 rings, because what an elf would do is say, I'm going to, in order to save myself, Eregion or something, I'm going to go ahead and give in to what Sauron wants me to do.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. So what we have was a big choice. Celebrimbor has been faced. He realizes he's now been working for the Dark Lord. He's been working for the source of all evil in Middle-earth now that Morgoth is gone. And he's been making these rings of power with the Dark Lord's blood as a constituent element.
Which, again, okay, I will say,
what could go wrong?
That blood vial apparently was never mithril. It was always his blood, is what I'm guessing it would be. So they pulled one over on us too. Yippee-ki-yay.
So it's the Dark Lord's blood is a constituent element in the 9 rings. Which, by the way, I actually, like, at a certain level, if they had done this in a believable way, I wouldn't have had a problem with. Like, if he had actually mixed his blood in the process of forging the 9 in a clever way without people knowing, I think that's not bad. I liked it. But now you're Celebrimbor, and you've realized the rings you forged have been forged with the blood of the Dark Lord in them. And
why must it be so logical?
And he's telling you, finish the rings, or else I'll, kill people. That definitely isn't what he's going to do once he has the rings, right? He's definitely not going to kill people then. So now you're an elf faced with a heroic choice. Yeah. Do I do what he says? And the answer, if you're an elf, is of course not. No elf would choose that. They would say, no, I will not be a tool to your evil. You can kill me, you can kill other people, but I will not be a tool to your evil. But not Celebrimbor, because he's not an elf. He's an old, weepy man. He's a dotard of a man. And so he's like, all right, then chain me up and I'll work on your rings. All right. So, and by the way, we have this moment here when Sauron comes in. And he's like, now he's Jesus, Sauron. He says,
I was saying the same thing. He's messianic, right? That's what they're doing. It's
like afraid.
It's like Gabriel coming to Mary to say, be not afraid. You're going to carry. You are carrying the Messiah, like Celebrimbor is carrying the messianic rings.
Yeah, Christ says, be not afraid. The angel Gabriel says, be not afraid. So now he's Bible Sauron. He's Messiah Sauron.
Yeah.
And he says, this too shall pass. And I had a friend text me. Hey, Dan, by the way, he says he listens to every episode, so I'll give him a shout out here.
The Dan, the one and only?
No, it's not that Dan. It's a different Dan.
So I don't care about that Dan.
He says, and I had heard this before, this too shall pass. Sauron says, this too shall pass, which is a famous line. Actually, it comes from a fake Solomon line, so people think it's King Solomon, but it's
not
called,
biblical.
Yeah, it's not actually from the Bible. But this too shall pass. So Sauron's just full of platitudes and messianic phrases, and because the writers can't write their own good lines, so they're like, we'll take from scripture, and we'll take from literature, and we'll take from Peter Jackson, and we'll take from lines that are supposed to be spoken 3,000 years in the future, whatever.
Well, that phrase leads right into him essentially saying that he wants to heal Middle-earth, right? He wants to be the savior of Middle-earth. And this is this the line that Celebrimbor is slightly believing in and does finish the rings because of that? Is it because he believes that maybe Sauron will heal Middle-earth? Although it is so the funny thing
that doesn't fly because because Celebrimbor later in the conversation says after Sauron does
I was a victim of Morgoth.
The ultimate victim gaslighting thing, and in a way that's so stupid that even 14-year-old Celebrimbor or senile old man Celebrimbor can see past it. But Sauron tries to pull the line of, "I am but a victim of your obstinance. That's why. That's
the
why
line.
you're here."
That's so fun, dude. We're on the same page. That's exactly the line that I wrote down. He precisely said, "Since you forced me to torment you to bring them into being, I am but a victim of your obstinance." It's
And,
the it's also
and it's so stupidly.
it's such a weak gaslight. It's
Well, that's
unbelievable.
Again, 13-year-old, they'll believe it. And at this moment, they have Celebrimbor say, you truly are the Lord of deceit, because you can even deceive yourself.
Yeah.
And so yeah. And then Sauron gets mad and says, "Finish the task." So you got
and Celebrimbor at this point, he also tries to melt the rings in the fire again, but nothing happens, and they're still cold to the touch, just like the One Ring.
Okay. Which, by the way, like, that's fine. That's the kind of thing.
That's fine with me. Yeah, that's why I didn't say anything about it. But here's the point at which we get back to the battle scene, and the elves. I tried to figure this out, what they're doing in battle, since we're talking about doing the right things in battle. We're doing something they should have done. I don't know, 15 hours earlier when they assaulted them. They have these large barrels, something they're throwing up in the air and then shooting arrows at it, and that explodes over
sacks
people.
of pitch, I guess.
Okay. Would have been good to use that on the Ravager. Might have been a bad
exactly. And by the way, the Ravager is still there. Why aren't they using it on the Ravager now? Because we find out later that nothing makes it. And you see, it's like every time you see a big battle scene, there's evenly dispersed torches and again, the ballet dance. It's the ballet dance battle. It's not a real battle. That's not how battles work. Yes, things can devolve into random melees in battle sometimes, but that's all we see is ballet dancing and everyone dying, and then we have. Did we get to Asian Boromir scene yet?
Not yet, because first we have to have Celebrimbor be stronger than Sauron by cutting off his own finger. So in order to get out of the shackles, he decides, I'm going to cut my own finger off, my thumb. Sorry, not my finger. And so he walks outside again without thinking about anything at all, and just gets knocked unconscious. And it's at this point we have, that's the second time that's happened. So not the sharpest tool in the shed there. He comes in, or he awakes to see 5 elvish guards looking down on him instead of fighting in the battle. They're just all standing around. This is what what are they doing? Wow, why do they?
What are they doing? They're doing what the 13-year-olds told them to do in the script. That's what they're doing. Oh my
goodness. Okay, so they're like, okay, the Lord of Eregion has told me you need to be brought back, I guess. And
why do they all switch their allegiance instantly? One of the things they were trying
because
to
that's
tell
a hallmark of this show. Nobody cares who the rulers are. It's whoever says, "Hey guys, I'm the ruler." Me.
That's right. And so they've been convinced by Celebrimbor apparently killing Myrddania through trickery. They've been convinced by Annatar. They're told. By the way, Adar tells Elrond that all of the elves of Eregion are lost because they've been under Sauron's spell. And they're trying to play that up like they've been. But suddenly Galadriel comes in and says one sentence, and they're like, "Well, I guess we're switching sides now." Annatar's wrong.
Reminding us that
Galadriel.
Greatest of Elven
Here we go.
smiths.
That's
Elven
Celebrimbor.
Prove it. Prove he's the greatest Elven smith.
But he had a hammer earlier, and the ring went.
Yeah, he made one ring. I saw him make one ring, kind of. He's the greatest.
So Celebrimbor essentially he hands her the 9 rings, and he goes back because now he's strong. He's not weepy anymore. He'll go back and he'll go back. Why does he have to go back to Sauron? I don't know.
He's supposed to be distracting. Okay, here's the thing. The conceit of this scene is I'm giving Galadriel the rings. You, Galadriel, go escape, and we'll hold off Sauron. I would like to point out Sauron wasn't coming upon them. He was still throwing things in the tower.
Sauron
could have
hasn't
all just left together to get rid of the rings.
Sauron hasn't done anything that shows he has power other than,
and it's
like,
not that
changing your
they're in the
mind.
middle of a chase scene and
No.
Sauron's through 200 yards away running towards them, and it's like, you stay, you go, and we'll hold him off. That's what they're trying to project. But
Yeah.
they all could have walked out the way Galadriel came in with the rings and had more of a chance of getting the rings to safety. Why didn't they all just leave? Like, what's the point?
Well,
here?
they didn't leave because it's not strength that overcomes darkness. It's light.
Light that overcomes strength, darkness. Yeah. There's no light endures. I wrote this down. Light endures and is mightier than strength. While they're showing orcs hacking elves.
I know, and I'm like, yes, light, but a strong light is better than a dim light. So perhaps there is some strength to, and it doesn't. The thing with that phrase is it sounds nice, but again, it doesn't mean anything, because what is the light? They haven't established the light, and it's like they're trying to do a throwback, I think, to the file of Galadriel. You know, may it be a light to you in dark places. That's sort of an idea. They haven't, again, earned this phrase anywhere. They haven't established that light overcomes the darkness, and that the orcs are the darkness they're trying to overcome, and there are places where the light has overcome it. The only thing that's overcome this, I guess, so far is the mithril is overcoming the Sauron tendrils or something. But what is the light that's overcoming? Where is it?
But the mithril doesn't even emit light or anything.
I know. So what is it? But see, it's like one of those cheap phrases that they haven't earned. It doesn't mean anything really, because when we think about it, what strength actually finally overcame Sauron? Well, I guess you could say, if they would have done the right thing, the last alliance of elves and men was kind of important. There was a lot of strength there. There was light, but even was Sam and Frodo's journey to across the plains of Gorgoroth to Mount Doom,
did that not show strength?
Was that
showed
tons of
strength?
Yeah, where's the light in that? Well, it was pretty dark for them. The light. This goes back to what the thing that sets apart the characters in Tolkien's world that make them want us to make us want to cheer them on is the courage and the strength that they show, not the light that they have. We don't cheer on, honestly, I will say, like in the Lord of the Rings, we don't cheer on Galadriel because she gave strength through light, you could say, to Sam and Frodo. But it wasn't her strength that won the day. It was Frodo's courage, his fortitude, Sam's ability to essentially
to carry Frodo.
To carry Frodo. Yeah, I finished reading Tolkien and the Great War, and so it's a great book about. I finished reading it a couple weeks ago. But in any case, it points out that like it's the strength of the little people that overcomes the greatest darkness in the world. It's not. I don't know what the light of the little people means.
Well, light can light can inspire. Remember, when they're in darkness in the land of Mordor, there's that break in the clouds, and Sam muses about a light. Or Frodo,
the king has a crown again. Yes, right.
But I'm talking about in Mordor where they see the far off stars shining through the break in the clouds, and there's a goodness and a light. So high up the darkness cannot touch, but that light isn't light versus strength. Actually, it's strength versus strength, but it's a different kind of. It's a strength of hope. Light can inspire the strength, like the light, like the file of Galadriel. But you're right. This is a false, contrived, false opposition that they're trying to do here, and they're doing it just for modern dumbass psychobabble. Positive. They're just spouting positive statements, and we're supposed to be inspired by positive statements about light versus strength, and it's dumb.
Okay, so let's move on from the light versus strength because we get the strongest warrior here in all of Middle Earth.
Here we go.
Asian elf number 17. I guess is she the one that was with Elrond and Galadriel on the journey to Ergion and had to turn back?
She was, yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so they tried to create her into a new Boromir that we don't care about, and her whole role.
In order to create, they're trying so hard for the Boromir memberberries that they make this scene. I was out laughing because as they're fighting across, notice here's what you don't see. What don't you see? Do you see any arrows flying?
No
arrows.
They're just walking happily
around,
through.
No arrows, and then they're making comments about. You can make the shot. You know what? You know who can make that shot? Literally every single elf in that battle. So she's going to make the shot. You can take the shot. And they're projecting so hard. And all these elves, here they are looking at the Ravager. And you can take the shot. You can do it. You're the only one with it. And all of a sudden, you've been shot by arrows. There's the
nobody
arrows.
Nobody else around her.
No arrows are flying anywhere else. What is it? Do the elves of color in Lord of the Ring, in Rings of Power, do
they have to work twice as hard?
Oh, they attract their arrows. Arrows like come in and zoom, and they hit them. Just them.
Oh,
she's the only one being hit by arrows. No arrows.
The thing is it could have been anybody. They decided to make it her because they wanted to show how strong that she was, and it makes it so trite and inconsequential by trying to inject essentially like people hate me for saying this, but it's like trying to inject woke politics into this here by showing like, oh no, it's the small Asian female elf elf is going to be the strongest elf of them all. Even I would say by what she does, stronger than we learned Gil-galad in the end, because he doesn't really do anything either. But she's there. She will stand up and she will rip that arrow from her what's it called in the back? Anyway,
scapula, between her scapula.
Anyway, and she will then pull it. It's on fire because she just stuck it in the fire.
She dipped it in the fire. By the way, this is an orc arrow. She got shot by an orc arrow.
And it is?
Yeah, well, she ripped it from her back.
Oh, look at that. I didn't even notice. I guess I shouldn't watch it
it's
at
a
1.5
nice looking
speed.
orc arrow. It looks all like elven arrows. Maybe she was killed by the other elves. Maybe the other elves shot her.
Are you sure? No, I think she pulled that one from her.
Wait, play it. Let's see. I thought she pulled it from her back.
I'll turn the
volume out of her back.
I guess so.
Oh, is that her quiver?
Her quiver. Back? That's what I was the word.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong.
Anyway,
so she's got one arrow left, and she turns it into a fire arrow. What? And all the elves are like standing around watching her. Like,
I know. Well, it's a ballet. It's a scene, right? They're all dancing around her while she's there as the central.
The elves next to Elrond are just all looking back at her, staring at her. Now it's just Elrond staring at her,
and she looks at him like, "This is my moment."
She goes.
Politician
she fires the arrow, and all the elves are like, "Whoa!" And why are the orcs looking at one arrow? What's going on? Like,
that's so dumb. It's like rewatching this is so painful. Why are they looking at the one arrow? Because it's the important arrow. It's the arrow of doom. It lands into
By the way, she fired it into a barrel of oil. That's next to the Ravager.
It's natural gas that doesn't really do that. And
what?
I don't know. Yeah. This is their unearned moment from Helm's Deep, right? The explosion of something.
I understand. But there wasn't anything to shoot at. Like first of all, she couldn't see that. You can't be like, oh, elven eyes. What are you shooting at? And then she fires into this little bucket, half closed bucket.
It's impressive.
And that little bucket is filled with like 100 gallons of gasoline in a bucket the size of, because that's the explosion. This is a gasoline explosion. And so the whole thing, and then she gets shot by more arrows.
And she's as I like to say, she gets Boromir'd.
There she goes.
One more right here.
By more arrows.
Cup. Oh, wait. Elrond's got to first then engage in battle because he knows, okay, we're giving up on her. Wham. One more time. There it is.
And there she gets hit. Shot by. Why is she the only person getting hit by arrows? What is going on? Did an arrow just hit her in the ankle? Is that what happened?
she
I swear
she's not an orc. Her heart is not in her ankle.
Like, play that back for a second. I think there's an arrow in her ankle. So she gets hit.
And it's hard to get back.
Yeah, sorry.
All right, so it explodes. We look. Elrond then goes in, and he more
explosion, and then she gets hit again.
Let's see.
And he
up
charges.
Close and personal. Okay.
And then we're gonna get back to her. Hit again. Watch. There's an arrow in her ankle.
There is an arrow in her ankle.
She's like Achilles.
That's what got her.
That's the one that got her.
Well, they were inspired. Somebody read all about Achilles and was like, guys,
exactly.
We gotta go after the ankle.
Oh,
okay. So that's another memberberry that's just so obviously, but done so poorly. It's not like these memberberries are fun things. You're like, oh, that was kind of cool. No, every single one of these is like, wow, that's so bad.
Getting hit by arrows. The reason he was the only one getting hit by arrows is because they were all shooting at him. He was the only target, and there were a bunch of orcs with bows. We don't even see the orcs firing. Like they didn't even show us that. They didn't show us the orcs firing.
Maybe it was Arondir. who's here on the parapets. The oh, okay. He's watching. I don't even remember this scene because I was watching it too quickly.
This is Mike Ermin troll coming out of the forest.
Not yet, because Celebrimbor comes to confront Anatar. Oh. And Anatar, or sorry, Halbrand, essentially says, okay, here's what I don't get. The whole scene is predicated on the idea that Halbro wants Celebrimbor to bring him the rings. He's like, it's like me telling my kid who left something on the ground, I'm not going to go get it for them. Like, you get it for me. No, I don't want to, Daddy. You get it for me. No, I don't want to, Daddy. You get it for me. I'm not going to. He has the power to go and do it and is simply choosing not to. What is he doing? He has the power to now like literally affect the entire world that somebody sees. He has the power to control people's arms. He has the power to kill people. But he won't actually do anything to go after the rings. Okay. Anyway. So he confronts him.
Shut up. Stop with your logic.
He has the guards, again, like I said, the guards go in and he simply waves his little arms and bazinga. He's like, what is he doing? I don't understand.
He
can
puppet
and
master
uses the
everybody.
force, and then just they stab each other because he's able to control lots of people.
Right,
why does he even need the rings for if he has this kind of power? Can't he just weasel his way into every single kingly area and then just kill them all? Like, what? This is too easy. I don't get it. I do get it. They don't understand. They just have these moments like, wouldn't it be
By the
cool
way,
if
why
we
is he worried about
controlled
rings? Clearly what he really needs is a red lightsaber. That's the
Jeez. So anyway, so he doesn't bring him the line. He kills the last guy, blah, blah, blah. And then we get into this awesome scene where family man orc, Glug, is disgusted with Adar. He walks away from him because the troll is coming out now. One good idea they had here is when he's getting shot with arrows, he picks up the other orcs and essentially uses them as a shield. I was like, oh, that's kind of a neat idea. I'm on with that. At least it's within his character.
That's a very appropriate trollish idea.
Yeah. So, but it comes up with like they've worked up this troll. He gets about 90 seconds of screen time here and is killed in the least effective way. The troll in the Fellowship of the Ring that Peter Jackson inserted into the Mines of Moria, was actually had more to do. He was more threatening than this huge, like larger troll, and we get essentially a troll that walks in, is shot by a couple arrows. There's Arondir.
He stomps on a bunch of people.
He stomps on people. So what does Arondir do? He runs.
Wait. Before Arondir, stop.
Sorry.
We got to do Elrond. So Elrond uses the Ravager against the troll and punches him in the gut with the Ravager. He cuts the cord and and he gets a gut punch from the Ravager. So the troll's there to walk. I mean, essentially the troll's just there. He's there to finish the job of the Ravager and finish destroying the wall. But he's there really to show that Adar doesn't really love his people, because he's there grinding orcs into the ground, grinding elves into the ground too, but grinding orcs, using orcs as a shield. He's there to prove that he doesn't really love you because he's willing to sacrifice orcs. And then he's there to be tough. And then there's Elrond hacking away at the Ravager. Like, this is an elvish sword, and he can't cut a rope in like 7 or 8 blows. What is going on here?
He's a politician architect. He's never swung much of this before in his life, so he's having a hard time putting his beard into it.
Through orc armor, and everything,
and then
all throughout this.
And of course, he's picked up by the troll. He's not injured at all, as is per their want. And then the Ravager swings back and catches him right in the gut, and gets the wind knocked out of him. I guess he's hurt a bit.
Well, he's got a hole in him, so yeah.
Does he?
Okay.
Whatever. And now that he has a hole in him, this gives Arondir the chance to jump off the wall.
Well, first he uses the Ravager to break the wall. Okay.
Right. Okay. So if they would have set up, here's the thing with this scene too. You mentioned that if they would have set up that their goal was to breach the walls, it would have made more sense that this was an important scene. But they haven't actually established that that's their goal. They're just assaulting. They said if they would have set up a scene earlier where they have their plan to breach the walls and they establish that and they get in through it, and then they make this point the focus of the battle, just like say Grond was for that part when Grond comes in to assault to take out the doors of Minas Tirith. that would have made more sense, but we don't care that he's actually doing this, and so his death is such an anticlimactic moment in the entire episode.
And they're lazy, right? Because as you pointed out, they're just trying to do the same thing. They can't even run a siege the same. Like they have the charge of the Nohirim. They have the focus around an engine of war that's getting to the walls that people are supposedly trying to stop, but sometimes they aren't and sometimes they aren't. And then it breaches the walls. They have a combination of explosions, and then the wall gets breached in a slightly different way. But whatever the case, it's just all the same beats. They're using the same Peter Jackson beats to try to paint the scene. And here we go. Final and finest moment of Arondir, Archduke of Physics. He jumps off a ladder, and an elf.
This guy's got to be what, 2,000 pounds
away.
Yeah.
It's like having it's like throwing a pebble at a gorilla and the gorilla falling over. Because the pebble, you hit the gorilla in the chest with the pebble.
It's essentially the same version of what they did with their trebuchets in the mountains, right? They don't care about the physics.
Right, their physics
just throw something
matter.
small.
We want our cool Arondir to knock over a troll. So he jumps on his chest and the troll falls over. This troll that can knock over trees by pushing them mildly to the side.
And so he's able to essentially pin him to the ground with his sword, which again, if he was a strong, say, troll, he would have gone like not that hard to
actually all he would have done is smushed Arondir against his chest. He just swings up his hand and goes smush, and then
there you go.
Arondir.
Yeah.
But anyway,
so he spits out the arrow that's been in him. Then he gets so this is what the problem with this whole scene is. They don't show us what's actually happening to the troll.
Right. What's holding this troll down? Like, why is he?
And where did Elrond stab him? They just showed us Elrond coming in and stabbing him, and then the troll is crying. And then here comes Gil-galad. Watch. Because you tell me, what is Gil-galad doing? How does Gil-galad kill the troll?
Here we go.
Stab down once, and then the troll just laughs for some reason, and then he dies. The laughter. How did he die? What did they do? Did he? You know what happened? He drove by him and he stabbed him in the ankle.
Yeah. Oh, it's the ankle. That's the key. That leg. It's that leg thing again. There are a variety of people that die because you shoot them in the leg or stab them in the leg. Like seriously though, you're right. Why does he die? Why?
They don't show it. They don't ever show him getting stabbed, hit by anything. Even the time that Arondir stabs him, I guess, in the hand to pin him to the ground. They don't show that. Just show him going like this here. Have they run out of budget now, or do they? Are they so incapable of storyboarding this that we're left with a complete non-event where we don't see any of the action
like
that actually
Gil-galad
happens?
rides up and he's just stabbed down slightly off screen. It's something like 1 foot off the ground. If that had been the troll that he was at when he's charging in and stabbing, you would have seen some part of the troll. But I think you're right. I think they just ran out of budget, so like they can't show the troll in the same scene. So Elrond comes up and Elrond stabs him in the chest-ish.
Somewhere. We don't even know where he stabs him. We have no clue. Here he comes.
Okay, and then here comes Gil-galad. And watch, he just stabs downward. Where's the troll?
Right there.
You would see the troll if that was the troll there. There's no troll. He's just stabbing downward off screen. Like, the troll body is not going to fit between the hocks of the horse and the ground. There's no way you can fit a troll that size.
They are lore correct here, that he's carrying a spear at least.
Yeah, I know. He's got eyegloss, but the fact that they didn't even told us about.
Oh, you just said that was going to be the next question. Do you remember the name of the spear? Yes, it is eyegloss. Okay.
AEGLOS or AIGLOS, rather.
Okay, so it's at this point, let's forget the stupid troll dies and nobody actually cares about, that has no bearing on this. They've worked him up all season. They released a song. The episode ends with a heavy metal song that Bear McCreary wrote, all about the last stand of whatever Mike Ehrmantroll, like you said.
Yep.
So then Gil-galad, when Elrond comes up to him and says, "Hi, King, you shouldn't be here doing this sort of stuff," and he says, "What? A king's place is wherever the need is greatest."
Oh, and I promised our viewers, and I didn't do it, that I was going to point out let's look at all the places that the king's need would have been greatest.
Okay.
For
let's talk
starters,
about that.
the king would have been great. Need would have been greatest leading the battle, because that's what he's a high king. He's a warrior high king. He is in fact going to go toe to toe with Sauron at the end of the Second Age, and so yeah, that's a problem.
Good place to be.
So leading the charge, he would have been the person. Like if you're talking about negotiations from king to king, he would have been the one that's doing the negotiations with Adar, not Elrond. That he would have been needed there. How about the king might have been needed making the case to the dwarves that they should be following him and saving his people, because his people, he doesn't have enough, he told us in a previous episode, to fight the army of Adar. So he could have been making the appeal to Durin. Why have we never seen Gil-galad, High King of the Elves, talking to the High King of the Dwarves? So that his need would have been greatest there. Then we get into the battle itself. His need could have been greatest leading the charge to the wall, to rallying the elves to save the city. That would have been his need would have been greatest going into the city, facing Sauron, and or saving Celebrimbor. That would have been nice. That would have been a place where the need might have been greatest. He has, after all, an elven ring of power, and he is an elf lord of old. He's the last of the high kings of the elves.
You know, if the goal of this here, I just realized, if the goal of this here was to get Sauron and not to fight these orcs, which is really the ultimate goal, right? You can deal with these orcs if you kill Sauron, you can deal with these orcs. Why didn't more elves use the hidden dwarf tunnel into the city to take a sortie against Sauron and actually go after him? That would be where his need was the greatest. Have Gil-galad battle with Sauron. It's not lore friendly, but boy, it would sure meet their need for having something big happen. But Gil-galad is just a mealy-mouthed, pudgy king wannabe that has no place in any of these places, because they've never established him as actually being kingly or regal or a leader or a battle-hardened warrior.
Yeah, exactly. He's a pudgy middle manager. That's all he is.
Yeah,
that's right. And he remains a pudgy middle manager in this episode too.
So Gil-galad does not get his due. And the orcs come on. Adar is now finally leading the last battle against the orbs, against the elves. But Elrond says, "Don't worry, the dwarves are coming." And so they look to the east, west, to the sunlight. Does this look like a scene that you've seen before? I'm just wondering if this might look like the Helm's Deep scene.
Remember Helm's Deep?
But the dwarves don't come. His retainer guy, his assistant dude, comes along. The assistant manager comes in and says, "The dwarves aren't coming,"
and then dies.
But he still repeats, "The dwarves are coming," and then dies.
There
he is.
I guess at least one other elf got shot with arrows.
That's right. And so they lead, I guess, a last. There's Adar coming in. They lead a last heroic charge. Look at this elf army right here. Boom. Michael, let's count. Let's start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, and a horse. I'm counting 31 people defending the northern edge, because there's the
you know what's
bridge.
Cool? I didn't even notice before. They actually have a broken bridge.
Yeah, or there maybe it's the drawbridge is down or something like that.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Yeah. So they have 31 people left. This is the remaining army that's now gonna kamikaze themselves into the orcs when they're
by
trying
the way,
to get Sauron.
why aren't those elves climbing up the ladders that are there to defend the city?
Because it'd be too hard to defend when you have the high ground. Sorry. The high ground. Because they could easily say,
because this is the dumbest show ever. And I finished with my final note. Stupid. I hate this show with every fiber of my being. That's what I wrote. And I was so done, especially as a follower of, I'm a medievalist and I love medieval history. And so the history of in warfare, here we go. Here's ballet fighting. This is everyone dancing. We're all dancing in a circle. We're all fighting in these slow circles. Oh, look.
I love it. I love it because I'm hoping Arondir bites it here. That this is the final. Do you think he's really dead?
No,
so?
No, but you know what's funny is Adar stabs him with his sword, and then his sword is totally clean. They didn't even bother to put blood on his sword after he stabs him with the sword. And he impales Arondir. There we go. There's the impalement and the meaningful moment when the elves look each other in the eyes, and Arondir supposedly dies. And
it would have been cool. This moment would have been great if they would have established that maybe Arondir finally knew Adar from a long time ago, and that this was the corrupted elf that he had grown up with.
Whatever. Yeah, that would have been cool.
That would have been a little more interesting. But no, it doesn't really matter. So he gets stabbed. He gets pushed to the side and kicked in the face. He's not.
There's his sword. No blood on it.
And this then comes to the point where Elrond and Adar face off against each other. And Adar takes the ring from Elrond. Elrond is now, of course, he's a weakling elf again, just like most of them. He can't really do anything. All he has to do is hold his hand. Look at that. Look at that strength to just release it. And then, like Darth Vader with a rebel trooper in A New Hope, he lifts him up off the ground.
How is this?
He has super strength now, too.
Yeah.
And takes the ring from him and says to him, "Never make war in anger. You should make war in love like I do."
Right.
Oh, he doesn't actually say that. And doesn't kill him. He just lets him live. I'm like, what? Wait, what? Why? You just killed Arondir, and it shows
no motivations matter. Nothing matters.
And so he just lets him live. And that's the end of the episode. This is the longest we've talked about an episode because I think there was so much stupidity in here. It's really hard to encompass something this bad, like in my brain, to see everything is wrong with it. Nobody has earned any moment in this entire. They try to have, like I said earlier in an earlier episode or earlier in this podcast, they tried to have so many pivotal emotional moments, but they have done nothing to lay a foundation to earn those moments at all, whether it's at the end with even Elrond and Adar, or whether it's Elrond and Arondir, or it's Celebrimbor and Halbrand at the end, or it's Galadriel coming to save Celebrimbor, or it's Galadriel and Elrond kissing, or it's Elrond leading a charge. We don't know that he's a good battle, or it's a Gil-galad saying Gil-galad. Sorry, now, and I'm going to start thinking about that every time. Saying, a king's place is wherever the need is greatest. They haven't earned any of these moments in this entire episode, and they try to have so many of them, and it's so worthless. It is ultimately
right. And that leads me to my very final comment. Not the stupid. I hate because that was what I wrote down. But
that was a rage. It wasn't a comment.
But my final comment, which was from our text thread, but that is that, like, there have been, and I've seen a rash of articles coming out in the last week saying that there's somehow some kind of redemption for Rings of Power because of season 2. There was a CBR article that I saw last night, and my reaction, as I mentioned to you on the text thread, was, look, at a certain point, if people are watching this and they can't see the stupidity of it, then and we're talking about, for example, the greatest problem with this from start to finish is the writing. The writing is so bad here that all I could be reminded of is Les Grossman from Tropic Thunder at the end of the movie, where he says to his second in command, "Seriously, a nutless monkey could do your job." And that's the way I feel about the writers of the show. Like, there is so little talent. They're such hacks. They're just copying. Like Les Grossman's second in Tropic Thunder, all they do is try to cipher off of the vibes they're feeling in the room and throw us what would they think we want, what they think is cool, or what they think will get them to survive in their corporate environment. And these writers, man, nutless monkeys they could probably do a better job than these writers, actually. I might hire a group of nutless monkeys, because that I would take that over what I'm getting here in Rings of Power. So thus ends season 7, or rather episode 7 of season 2 of the fan fiction that we have in front of us.
Can you imagine because Tom Shippey was originally Tom Shippey, the greatest biographer, the greatest scholar of Tolkien, probably.
Yeah,
living
he's
still.
probably one or
He
two.
was
Him and Mike Drought. Are probably the two greatest Tolkien scholars on the earth right now.
He was hired by the Rings of Power to be a consultant, and they fired him at one point, ostensibly because of an NDA or something like that.
Yeah, some German radio interview or something that.
And I'm thinking, like, dude, there's no way he was fired because of that. It's because he went to the writer's room and told them, "You're a bunch of idiots, and you cannot write this because it has no resemblance to actual story structure or what Tolkien wrote." And they're like, "We can't hire anybody smarter than us, so let's fire him instead."
Let's fire the guy, the naysayer.
That's so right. The nutless monkeys let go of the 100-pound gorilla that would have stomped them into submission and said, "No, this is what you're going to write." Yeah. Or either that, or he was like, "There's no way I can be a part of this." Like,
he might have.
Why would I have my name attached to this? Yeah. I can't imagine. All right, guys, that's our review of the penultimate episode of the Rings of Power. One more to go. Maybe it'll be the last one ever, Michael, because it'll be canceled. Though they said they committed.
I don't think it will. Like I said
writers.
last week, I said, and I still believe it, that Amazon has enough money they can throw their billion in. By the time it's done, probably $1.5 billion away, and it's a line item on a spreadsheet somewhere. So that's for a company that size. So they can afford to take the hit for their vanity and say that they finished it, which is probably what they'll do.
Well, we're gonna jump into our extended edition just for our supporters. It's gonna be a shorter one, guys, but we'll throw it out to you anyway. Thank you, supporters. If you want to become a supporter or want to get the extended podcast, go to theonering.com/member or theonering.com/Patreon. It's $4 a month or $5 a month if you're on Patreon, and you get access to our Discord. You get access to our extended podcast, and I don't know, Michael, we're committed to it. October 19th, once I'm back from California, at 9 p.m. Eastern. For our members, we're going to have a video call. We're going to do it on Zoom this time because Zoom is far more reliable than Discord at this point. But we're going to have a Zoom call, and we're going to have the Rings of Power toxic recovery moment. The Rings of Power. I'm trying to say, like, the washing ourselves, talking about it, getting it all out on the table. So we'll have a nice chat.
Be Rings of Power. Our Rings of Power AA moment.
Yeah,
that's right. I'm Michael, and I watched all of the 2 seasons of Rings of Power. Hi, Michael. Yep.
So if you want to join us there, you can sign up before October 19th, and you'll have access. And hey, if you want to join for 1 month and just be in that call, feel free. Like, I'm not going to say no. That's how it's set up. So go to the onering.com/member to join us there. We're going to jump into our extended podcast and get into chats. Big thought. I need to have a stinger for that one. But we're going to talk about some points that you guys brought up in chat, particularly Fra. Thank you for bringing that up, Fra. So we'll see you on the other side, everybody.
Goodbye, freeloaders.